No way, Jose.
The following footage proves beyond any doubt that the tanks intentionally set the house on fire. It proves that the Branch Davidians were murdered. You can see that this tank has a gas jet on the front that shoots fire. You can also see the fire quite plainly. The tank goes into the house twice, and each time as it backs out, the fire at the gas jets is plainly visible.
We must all do more to recognize and look for the early warning signals that deeply troubled young people send.
Good morning. Welcome to the Dump. I am joined today by the beautiful Raven. What is up, my friend? It looks like my internet went from working fine before to back to shit again, so I don't know what is going on. How am I sounding? Am I okay? Am I looking okay? Am I sounding god-awful? I can see the little...
you sound good.
Right. I just saw on the top little left-hand the... Yeah, okay. I can see the reception, like the top left-hand thing gives me a little thingy, and it just... I don't know what's going on. I don't know what it's... I have the router right next to me. It's never giving me problems as long as I'm in the same room as it. And it is glitching up right now. So it might just be one of those days. But we have a lot to go through today. A lot of wild shit has happened in the past couple days. But it's a pleasure to have you with us, Raven. What is up, my friend? What is up?
I'm good, man. Thanks for inviting me. For a split second, I was worried because my camera was turned on, but you weren't here. I'm just looking at the camera, waiting for you to pop up. No, man, I'm good. Thanks for I was supposed to be here last Friday, and we ended up having, or was it Friday or Thursday or something like that? But we had some scheduling issues, and I guess that's what happens when you
Friday.
do. Yeah, I'm doing 4 shows today, and once you start doing that many shows, you if you're retarded, you screw up scheduling quite a bit. So happy to be here. Better late than never, I guess.
Absolutely. Right now I'm going through and I have like a million tabs up and I'm going through and trying to pause each one of them, make sure they're not running, to try to see if I can open up some fucking nerd space for me to be able to have internet. But yeah, let's start off with, I guess, to get probably the biggest thing bogging down my internet, the largest video I have keyed up. I guess we probably should just go ahead and get into the Kimmy K wild fucking drop. I guess over last night. I watched like 30 seconds, like kind of like what the previews. It's very, very occult, very. I mean, I don't know what to make of it, but let's watch it. I mean, hopefully it doesn't have any issues on my end because it seems to be. I mean, we're coming from my end with this. So let me know. Does this look like shit? Let me know if it sounds good. If you hear's good. Okay, because I know we're going through my internet, and I'm already having internet issues. But let's. It's 4 minutes long. I don't know if we'll watch the entire thing.
4 minutes and 44 seconds long. Interesting.
Yeah.
We got some numerology stuff slipped in there. Very good.
Yeah, although I don't know if 444 has any significance, but I bet you ask any Thelema guy, and they'll probably say it does.
Oh yeah, all the Pythagorean homosexuals, they splurge over the 444 thing. Let's go.
Yeah, 444.
What's up?
Okay, let's watch it. It's about 4.5 minutes long, give or take, and it is Santa Baby, is I believe what it's called.
Actually, Jose, it is choppy. Since my internet's better, do you want me to share it? I have it pulled up already.
Sure, but I will say, that it is intentionally choppy. So that might actually be what you're seeing. But bring it up on your hand. Fuck it, since why not? Like just to be sure.
Yeah,
but
just
it is
better safe than
intentionally
sorry.
choppy. Yeah.
Better safe than sorry.
So let's stop sharing that. I'll bring mine down. And we will. All right. Let's go add to stage. There you go.
All right, let's go. I can tell, like right now, just the way that it's doing this, you can almost guarantee there's moments where you can pause this and catch some. And obviously, you know, it's done to like a Stanley
Moloch
Kubrick.
or something.
Yeah, exactly. There's going to be some baby getting sacrificed in the background.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Hold on a second. Right off the bat, it looks like we've got some sort of a. Is that a donkey or like a Baphomet character? If I can just get this back frame by frame.
Yeah. There's like a ram or some shit. Yeah.
Okay, that's a donkey. All right. I can see she's hanging out with a bunch of Jews, color-coded Jews. Very interesting. Very interesting.
It feels like Revelation of the Method to me. Like it feels like, yeah.
It feels like what's that show?
Oh, I was saying a minute ago that it feels like
Oh, Jose, we're experiencing
Sorry, I have a
pretty
god-awful
substantial
fucking
latency.
Yes.
And
How about this? Let's do this, Raven. Let's do this. Tell me if you can hear me. But you play this. I'm going to watch this. I'm going to turn off the internet. And you play this and do commentary. I will restart my internet while we're doing this. So maybe that will fucking restarting the router. So it'll give me time. And I'll watch this on my own using my phone internet while you guys do. So I'm just as caught up as you guys are. So let's fucking you keep going with the stream. I'll bounce and I'll restart my internet. Does that sound good?
Sounds good to me.
Okay. All right. Let's try.
Let's try it. Guys, just so you know, I can see the chat. I can't pull it up. I don't have the ability to. Jose is the only one that can do that. But I see you, Hinchy, Doctor, Doomsday Cracker, Word Wizard. Let's get into this shit. I'm going to let it rip for a little bit and probably pause pretty liberally. Get up! Hey! Interesting. So you have like what one eye symbolism. It looks like a little bit of a Clockwork Orange symbolism. This feels very much like whatever they've done here is like a Kubrick film, in the sense that you can feel no shortage of opportunities to hide like subliminal messaging in the background. So I mean, this is kind of like light work shit, right? As far as the one eye symbolism goes. Maybe you can start stretching. Well, the A on her chest is the one half of the Masonic symbol. But, I mean, feels a little reachy. Oh, that's interesting. So we've got Mother Mary, right? That explains the donkey sort of a situation here. Which, by the way, I don't know if you guys have noticed, and I'm speaking to a little bit of a different crowd here when it comes to Jose's audience, but there's been a lot of Mother Mary. It goes beyond veneration, right? They're doing a movie now about Mary and Joseph. There's been a lot of mention lately. You had that Twitter account that seemingly has no actual association with the Catholic Church tweet recently and say, Mary had a choice and so should you, right? So on abortion laws. I just noticed that lately. Suddenly, Mary is seemingly much more of a topic of conversation than I was ever aware of previously. Honestly, this feels like something you could just play over and over again and catch something different every time. got to ask yourself too when it comes to this sort of thing. What is the intention? Yeah, her body, God's choice. I can see I've already pissed off Emily. Emily's in the chat. Shout out to Parekas. It's just something that I noticed. I don't know. It's been a big topic of conversation lately. Christmas season, easy target for demon lovers. Yeah, probably a lot of validity to that. Like I said, man, it just feels weird. It's like, oh, I got to fucking do spirit fingers at my camera to turn it on. It feels weird because on its face, it's not obvious. It's not pushing a product. It's not a music video because she's not a artist in that way. So what the hell is the point of this? It's obviously to convey a message. Unfortunately, your message decipherer for this morning is predominantly retarded, so I'll not be catching all of it.
Santa baby, I want the yacht and really fast
That's interesting. Is that supposed to be meaningful? It's like as she's crawling through, there is a second dog. She takes it with her, so when she passes, it's no longer there. Airbrush works wonders on that Hobbit. Who's that? What the fuck, man? This camera keeps pausing. AI Airbrush works wonders on that Hobbit. You talking about Kim Kardashian? I wonder if she's actually, not to give her, credit, because I do think she's fucking a mother of darkness, right? She's a modern day witch. There's somebody that had this really wild theory. It was a lot of fun. It was this idea that there are sort of a consolidated mothers of darkness, a body, a governing occult female body made up of various, what would you call them, influencers. And for a time, Jose's back. There we go.
Yeah, I'm back. It looks good on my
dude,
end.
You said that pretty fast. I don't think we have any sort of latency now.
All I had to do was turn it off and turn it back on,
That's
boys.
it,
That's all
Sir,
you got to
is it
fucking
plugged in?
do.
Is it plugged in, sir? Have you tried resetting it? But I was talking.
Have you tried turning it off and on again?
Dude,
I just
that's
fucking
it.
did.
Dude, honestly, like StreamYard too. StreamYard does that shit where
Yeah.
it's like it won't, and it's like just try refreshing it, and all of a sudden all the issues go away. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. So many of Top's issues with his like $700 Rodecaster are fixed when you just refresh. It's bonkers.
Yeah,
but
it's
I'm talking
percussive
about
maintenance. That's what it's called. Yeah.
we have Kim Kardashian here, right? And the big question you have to ask in this bizarre video is like, what message is it she's trying to convey?
Yeah.
She's not a
Who
superstar.
hurt her? Yeah.
Who hurt her? Right. Where did you? where were you touched?
Yeah.
But she's not a musical artist, so this is strange. It's a bit of a music video, right?
Yeah. That is weird.
You have to add. She's not a prolific actor or actress. So what the fuck are we talking about here? So I started getting on this tangent about how there is rumored to be within the upper echelons of politics and the music industry in Hollywood a sort of body of mothers of darkness, right? It's an elite governing body of occult females.
Yeah.
And the rumor goes that back in the early 2000s, Beyonce held that title for a time, and that she actually, it was passed on in front of our eyes at the MTV Music Video Awards. Do you remember when Kanye West interrupted Taylor Swift, said, I'm going to let you finish in a minute, but Beyonce had the greatest music video of all time. So what's interesting about that moment is it's relatively early in Taylor Swift's career. And when she is being what we have come to recognize, we all kind of say this every time something happens. Is this a humiliation ritual, right?
Yeah.
So certainly that moment could be perceived as one. What's interesting is when she's being humiliated on stage by Kanye West, she's wearing white, which you don't have to be like a master esoteric occultist to understand that white is symbolizes purity, right? And so
Yeah.
it's
Is
purity.
this sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but this is really making me think of like Whore of Babylon type motifs.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Yeah.
like and it doesn't, and now it's like ringing true that it's like, I'm thinking that Beyonce, you have, Kim K. Kim K's been kind of big lately with some weird shit. She was in that like lizard outfit a while back.
Yeah.
I mean, it strikes me. Obviously, there's so much playing on the Marilyn Monroe motif here.
Right.
And it's like, I don't know. I think is there something to that? Is there something to what the elites are telling us? And like when things are getting weird, to where a horror Babylon will kind of take prominence, or I don't know. I just maybe I'm overthinking this, but now I'm thinking about it, I'm like, this is weird, and we're
Yeah.
going through weird times. Something's odd about this.
It's very strange. There was a time Kanye West came out with a video, and it was really like an artistic piece. And what happened in the video, I can't find it. If anybody knows what I'm talking about, I would really appreciate sending me the video, David L. Corbo on Twitter. But I don't remember if it's sandwiched within a larger music video, and there's like an intermission period where like during the music video, it stops being about the lyrics and it goes into some weird sort of thing. What ends up happening is Kanye West is, I believe he's dancing with a woman in white. And all of a sudden he starts to, in this music video, feel like the drugs and the alcohol are getting to him too much. And he excuses himself and he goes up to a bathroom. And he's staring in the mirror, which, you know, occult symbolism when it comes to the mirror is pretty heavy, right? So he's staring in the mirror, kind of going through this, like, who is this man that I've become moment? And what ends up happening is he cuts out of himself. He takes a blade and he cuts out of himself. There's always a ceremonial blade too. Removes a small bear, which was, I think, indicative of the Graduation bear. So Kanye West had this album Graduation, and you know, on the album cover, famously, he's in this what do you call those dudes? A mascot outfit. And so he pulls that bear mascot out
The
of
masquerade, you mean?
No, like a mascot on the album cover for
Mascot,
Graduation. He was in a giant bear mascot outfit. I guess
Yep,
because it was
gotcha.
the mascot of his college or whatever. So he takes it out and he kills it. And to me, it was like, oh, okay, that bear within him represented some aspect of himself, like some pure, innocent aspect of himself. So he kills this bear, and then to wrap it up, when he leaves, he now is dancing with a woman in red. So he returns back to the party. Now it's no longer a woman in white, it's a woman in red, and he's dancing with her instead. So, you know, I'm sure you can do a bunch of different things with that symbolism. It's pretty easy too. But
Yeah, bear is common in child essay, the
Yes.
symbology. So
yes.
yeah.
So I mean, there's a lot there, and of course, this is his ex-wife. These
Yeah.
people, like the Kardashians, and what the hell's the Jenners? I don't know.
Yeah,
like-
I mean, obviously I have nothing to support this, but they really feel like there's some sort of generational, like, fucking, you know, literal occult type shit going on here. And I know it sounds crazy, but when you've been digging into the occult or generational, like say with the Dutroux affair or whatever, and you start looking at the families and how it's common that, like, in these networks, that there a lot of times these are like family things, to where it's like, you know, the grandma will be the one who's slinging the grandkids or whatever, and they're brought up through this, whatever this is, and they have to live through this awfulness, and they kind of, you know, trauma perpetuates itself, and then obviously they get to a point, at some point, where now they're the grandparents or the parents that are, you know, peddling their kids. So. I don't know. It does. I mean, like, it's like that. What is it? That chick who got banged out by 100 dudes recently, and like her mom was her fucking money manager.
Yeah.
It's like, how is that any different than Kim Kardashian? Her mom is her money manager, basically.
100%, yeah.
Yeah,
Or
so, like-
Shmuley selling dildos with his daughter.
And then that kind of comes back to this like horror of Babylon thing, and like I'm just kind of clicking these elements together, and it makes me think. I'm like, oh shit, you know, how much like things like Thelema, like from Crowley, have taken place in the celebrity sphere, and it's like, if it would make sense if you're having like these like SRA little sex kittens that have like gone up through this, if that you would essentially inundate them with this belief of almost like a horror Babylon, like venerating these sorts of acts. And so if anything, like to her, like she would like a Kim K to this day is like a modern day like horror Babylon. Like she has kind of like reached the peak of her craft
I
in
wonder
a
if
certain
this
sense.
video-
You know what I mean?
If this video ends with her dying or something, or something symbolizing her ceasing to exist or ceasing to play this role, that would be interesting, because there's a lot of people that think right now where we are is the beast system overthrowing the harlot system. But shout out to Bad Hat Harriet. She mentioned earlier that bear symbolism is child SA symbology. And what's significant about that, especially when it comes to Kim Kardashian, is her defense of Balenciaga, or her still fucking with Balenciaga, who did come out with that ad that was very disturbing how many years ago now, where they had children's stuffed bears in bondage, sort of, I guess, what would you call it? Apparel, like straps and such, and it became a huge thing for them because it was all this like kind of whispers and nods towards
S&M stuff. That's
right. That's or SBDM. There's so many letters.
BDSM.
BDSM. There we go.
There you go. Right. Yeah, see, I can remember this stuff, you sick fucks.
Yes. So I just think that's interesting because you do see that bear often utilized to display innocence, but then it's always being perverted in some way. So let's this, I paused it at this moment because it's like you try to grasp at things that look like they're important. You'll notice as she rounds this corner she's about to that there are 2 stuffed animals on the ground.
Yeah.
And then one of them is gone after she passes by. And I'm not saying that there's definitively significance, but it's just,
I mean, so far, honestly, this has felt like symbolism for straight up, like what I've been describing. Like, like literally, like from her perspective of some sex strange, like SRA, like dissociative identity disordered fucking victim, how they might see through their eyes going through some fucking elite castle where awful fucking things are going down. Like like at the beginning you see the businessman on the phone, and then like her just kind of like whoring about, like moving around, acting like almost like a sex kitten. It's kind of like almost like
which
really
is that MK Ultra engineering here.
So almost like the warped mind of a child putting themselves into this act of like, oh, this is this is.
Which, by the way, so many of those big celebrities, female celebrities, were turned into that model of MK Ultra, that sex kitten thing. And it's like we see them now, like you see Britney Spears breaking down and displaying some sort of alternative personality that is very much childlike. Yeah.
Well, so I've been reading through the Dutroux stuff on my on this show, the morning dump, and yeah, they like one of the main girls, the X1, Virginia DeLouf or something, I forget, is she like she had altars that were created from her experience, and the altars were not only like her abusers groomed the altars. Like once they started presenting themselves, they enforced the behavior for like, hey, this like, so essentially like with her pimp, like there were, when he was taking advantage of her personally, it was like she became like, they had the altar where she was the whore. She had the altar where she was like more of like a daughter type figure, to where like it's like when they weren't like, it was kind of like, it's pretty fucked up really when you think about it, obviously, but like it's like they've created these different which in a certain sense like all of us kind of do, to where like
disassociation a little bit, like
sort of, it's like that but to an extreme. It's kind of the same idea as like when I'm hanging out with like say you and Top and the guys, I'm acting differently than I would act around my family. Right. Like so the version of me that interacts with my children is a different version than interacts with my boys. So it's kind of that thing, but to a crazy degree, to a degree to where like you're not even trying to find an ego that connects these two. Because like normally like with those two things, I still have a connective tissue of my ego that where I'm still the same person in there. Whereas like you're almost creating 2 separate characters,
Yeah. And I think that Kim Kardashian, as much as I would hope, I know that there was a time when Kanye West was worried about her sexualizing the children, and he alluded to that in like some interviews, and I kind of wonder if there's more to that. But I imagine like she's a mother on one hand, and on the other hand,
I sucked in a football stadium full of people once.
You know what I mean? Like there's probably levels to that shit. Let's let this play a little bit, and I want to see where this goes. Mm-hmm. So you'll see in the bottom right hand corner, there's 2, and then it turns to 1.
Is it Troon?
$809. Is that supposed to be the Jew counting his money? It's like you have the young artists who are totally enamored and either engaging in self-worship or strung out, passed out on drugs, while the shiny shirted Jew counts his money.
809. Not as much as last week. I've been to McDonald's and the drive was there.
44 on his shirt, so that timestamp of 4 minutes and 44 seconds is important, right? There's something going on here. I wonder what's going on. Is that... You know, it's honestly, it feels like...
being fucking blasted with symbolism to where you can't keep up. You're like,
it feels like it's rich with all kinds of strange details, and this needs to be like examined frame by frame.
This is
maybe
wild,
something worth doing. Honestly, it's not really my forte, but maybe I should do it, because I think right now, if you do a deep dive on this video and you can drag out the esoteric symbols and their meaning, it would really crush right now.
Yeah, I
When
mean,
did
like
this drop, Jose?
when did this drop? This dropped last night at like midnight. So like,
really,
technically today, but like, you know, kind of like 12:30 type deal. So, I mean, there's so much symbolism here that's like, if you knew what to like, I don't know, you could probably even really push it out quickly with like a grok. But then I don't know, that might be too much to work with.
No, maybe I'll dedicate some time to this.
Yeah, because this is one of those ones that like, there is so much symbolism here, but it's going to be, no one's going to give a fuck like 48
you're gonna
hours
get, you know
from
what
now.
you're gonna get? Oh, I gotta do spirit fingers. You're gonna get Isaac Weishaupt come along and butt fuck this thing. He's gonna tear it apart and pull a bunch of.
Here we go. This is right up the alley for Jules.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This is Jules.
This is Jules'
wheelhouse.
shit.
I used to be good at this sort of thing, but
yeah. I saw you saw the old lady clipping the Christmas tree,
and I'm looking at the tree because the tree is skinny at the top and fat at the bottom. I'm like, what is this? Is this fucking inversionism?
I felt it like it was symbolism for like kind of, you know, obviously all this awful, you know, shit going on, and then you have the American populace just kind of like idiots, just clip on their fucking Christmas tree, you know, their hollow consumerism, while they're out here like fucking, you know, slinging kids and doing all evil shit, and just here we are, the clueless fucking consumer class, just rah Christmas, consume. That's kind of the vibe I got from it. So
it definitely feels indicative of like the current era, the current cultural era, right? Because it's like you have the homeless outside and the rich inside, and this one's doing drugs and taking selfies, and then by the way,
this feels like a slap in the face to Christianity of kind of like, look at what Christmas has become, and like, because to some extent this whole thing is sort of wrapped up in the veneer of what the colloquialism that is the holiday season sort of is to some extent. Obviously, they're like, it's kind of almost from like a socialite fucking like hoity-toity perspective, you know, so like kind of the cocaine models, like you know, that type of stuff. But I think there might be something in that they're playing with it and like, hey, look, we've kind of wrapped up your thing into our evil, essentially. So I don't know. I think there's something there.
It's like there's a moment where you were gone where they passed by a Mother Mary, and it's interesting right now because I don't know if it's indicative of me just having started paying attention to this sort of thing. You know, like you buy a car and then you see that car on the road all the time, or if it is a larger conversation that seems to be unfolding. But we had like somebody that seemingly was portraying a representative from the Catholic Church make a viral tweet that said, Mary had a choice, so should you, right? And it was like this abortion tweet. And it went viral because it was supposedly somebody from the Catholic Church. It's since come out that they don't have any real connection to the Catholic Church, but that went crazy for a while. They're also making a movie currently about Mary and Joseph.
There's lots of elements of duality, too, if you focus on Mary worship. If you do want to get caught up in that, you know, the sacred feminine, you know, duality, you know, that type of stuff. There's obviously all sorts of elements to be taken from there. You know,
I can't help but wonder if if something larger is going to happen there. Let me see. Doc Tor says the donkey was fake and on wheels in the background, but when they passed it, it was alive. Yeah, I saw that. The first one that we saw was like floppy and fake, and then the second one was alive. And when we did see it, it was right next to Mary. It's weird. It's very weird.
Yeah.
Let's let it roll for a little bit.
You want to turn the volume down a little? It seems loud to me. Yeah, it's just me.
Is that better? Oh, there you go. It's Kim Kardashian's button. You're going to derail that train. What is going on here? We've got a strong man. We've got, looks like two elderly women, although one looks like a man. Weird. This backdrop of the palm tree.
Yeah, I don't even know what to make of this. This is just off out of nowhere.
It's just like when they give you a frame like this, you know, it almost calls for you to look at it. And nope, if there's something there, I'm too
Doomsday
stupid
Cracker
to
says they
display.
keep coming after the Catholics because they fear the true church. Now, I don't know. I mean, I do think there is something to elements of like, if you do look at the history of the Catholic Church, it was like the religious movement was more solidified then. So there's something to that in like a separation.
The Catholic Church has been, the ways in which the Catholic Church missteps are almost inconsequential because you can point out ways in which the Christian church missteps, right? It's like they all have elements of something very important there, but ultimately are run by human beings who are fallible and end up fucking up. So did it just change from a serpent to a train? Maybe worth pulling back there to check out. No, but it is interesting because the train does back up and then start going again. It even shoots out a little bit of steam. It's so funny too because all it is her just slutting around. Now this is interesting. Why on earth do we have seemingly what is a bandaged foot?
Yeah, a bandaged, gigantic, weird wedge foot thing. All right.
Is that what is that? What in the horrifying shit is that? That looks like Mike Tyson.
Fucking got an abo up in this bitch,
bro. Am I wrong? Like, is that like particularly scary looking? It's fucking horrifying.
Yeah, this is bizarre. All right. What? That is fucking weird. That is something. What is going on? I don't even know what to make of this. This is
It
disturbing.
reminds me of the bear from College Dropout. It also reminds me of.
What is that?
Do you remember 30 Seconds to Mars? That was Jared Leto's band, right? 30 Seconds to Mars.
Yeah.
So there was a scene. There was a song called "The Kill," and if you entertain that idea that like certain celebrities reach occult heights and then become something different, they're more than just a.
Oh, that motherfucker runs a cult.
Right. So if you go back to that, there's a lot of really
that dude
weird
living
scenes.
in Lookout Point.
Yep. So
dude's a fucking cult leader. Like
from
that
The
dude
Shining.
is fucking glowing like a motherfucker. And you know what? I almost wonder if songs like "The Kill" are like referencing something else. Like
Well,
what's
check this
going
out.
on?
No,
Yeah.
Bad Hat Harriet just nailed it. So this is an emulation of the scene from The Shining, which is the exact same thing that The Kill is. The Kill, if you pay attention to it, is a music video that's like emulating The Shining. At the beginning of this, I said that it feels like a Kubrick film in that there's a bunch of shit going on in the background. Shout out Bad Hat. She's fucking batting 1,000 today. Let's keep it going. Yep. Very much the same energy as The Kill and as The Shining. Which, hey, by the way, dude, that's a tell. If you're emulating The Shining and The Shining is background rich with subliminal messaging, they are telling you that so is this. Because that's what The Shining is famous for. Obviously, it's a fantastic psychological thriller, but the real thing is it's like there's messages about the moon landing and whether or not it was fake in the background. There's also messages about the Native American genocide in the background. And that's what makes that film have the longevity, the staying power that it has, and becomes a cult classic because you can analyze it and tear it apart for future generations. They're still doing it, making YouTube videos about it. So when you see that, and that also says probably go back and watch the music video for The Kill by 30 Seconds to Mars.
Yeah.
If they're doing that, they're telling you, pay attention to the background, dummy. Is there nose bleeding? It is.
Oh shit.
Looks like we're cleaning up the party now.
Okay.
There you go. Black Santa taking it away. It's interesting because each time the frame skips, things move.
Yeah.
Like watch the frame skip.
Yeah.
You see all these dollar bills.
Let's see.
Boom. And then all of a sudden, like,
yeah.
we're in a different spot and things are.
Oh. He's not a man of God.
A man of God. And we have a nun
He's not a man
dressed
of
in
God.
red,
He's
by
not
the
a man
way.
of God. Yeah. What the fuck? Yeah, red. Yeah, you pointed that earlier. If someone's in red, we're almost to the end, and we're at someone in red.
And that's,
we've had the whore of Babylon proceeding through, and now we have a religious or feminine religious figure clad in red.
This is
after a lot of symbolism, implying some sort of sacrifice or destruction of purity or something, and now we have this red religious entity.
Doc Tor 420 says you need to play it backwards. I wonder what story it tells if you do play it backwards. If you just think about it, I don't know. Alchemical change, right. From especially too when it comes to you've got a holy woman. Red is one of the main colors tied into alchemy. That's why you'll usually see that having moved from white to red. A bunch of crosses on the ground. Didn't even catch that. Let's pull it back a little bit. Oh, yeah, I saw one. That's interesting, right? There in that frame. Oh, that's weird. It's not there in that frame. But then
little,
it is.
Yep.
Dude,
little itty
it's
bitty
not
crosses.
there for a second, and then they pop up. Am I tripping, or were they there the whole time?
I don't know. They're so hard. It's so grainy. No,
Boom,
there they are now.
Right there. There's one. That's so
There's
weird.
a few.
Jose. Okay,
There's
all
a
right.
couple.
There's like three of them.
Three,
okay.
yeah. 4, 5. The more you look, the more you see them.
Okay.
Huh. Okay. So this crucifix is littered.
He is not a man of God.
God, who is he? This whole shit's about Kanye.
I mean, that would kind of make sense.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
That makes you feel like the Purge.
Yeah.
Interesting holding the sparkler too. I don't know. 3 rosaries, right? When I saw the three crosses, I couldn't help but think about the 3 crosses, right? Jesus crucified next to the other 2.
I don't know. He's not a man of God. He's not a man of God on the element of that's about Kanye.
Right.
That would fit. And then now we have this element, literally a wolf at the door begging to be let in with these elements of clearly a threat, purge. Oh. This is very clearly purge. So the idea of that purging, kind of he's not even a man of God. And then the idea that he even for a moment tried to, not play his part. It's almost like it's like what was there, that one music video Drake had where that he happened around the same time someone died and it had all these occult symbolism of a sacrifice. This almost feels like the same thing. Maybe we're witnessing the revelation before it happens of preparing for the sacrifice of Kanye.
What's interesting here too is you have this character knocking and wearing a mask, and to me it's especially on Nephilim Death Squad, the knocking, the asking for permission to enter is huge when it comes to spiritual things, especially when it comes to entities. And I just like that this thing is wearing a mask. So whatever it is, it's not a woman, right? That's obvious. And it's knocking and it's being asked to let in, but it's disguised as a woman. I just find that fascinating.
Something to that. This guy does what would typically be a unimposing kind of maybe middle-aged, kind of maybe housewife, doting mother type, the kind of portly, makes a nice lasagna type broad,
This is a representation of Halloween trick-or-treater and Mike Myers mask and the sparkler 4th of July Independence. Yeah, so I definitely picked up the 4th of July aspect when it came to the sparkler. And look, man, I mean, it really could be, if this is some sort of comms, right? Are you telling somebody that something is going to happen during or around the 4th of July? You know what I mean? It's that
it's already happened.
Or that it's already happened.
Yeah, because I mean, if we're especially even to bring it back to Kanye, not even saying this, I mean, there's so much symbolism; it can mean a million things. No, but if we're trying to go directly,
quick, Jose, I think you're totally valid in talking about the Kanye thing, because we're seeing these elements of like I said, that thing reminded me of the Graduation Bear, and this is a woman who's married to him. So yeah, 100%. It's the biggest claim to fame Kim Kardashian has is marrying.
Oh my God! On the already happened. This is sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Go ahead.
It makes me think of all these elements. I mean, I don't know what Kanye's mom looked like, but if you were to try to make an archetype of his mom, because his mom died. His mom was sacrificed, or
That's
like
a
you said
huge-
before,
yeah.
she was sacrificed. That's almost like a parody of his mother, like that kind of that energy, that like buttoned up,
that's
like
interesting. And we talk
I don't know.
about
I mean,
spirits.
obviously it's a white woman, but you know what I mean. That's that vibe, that motherly vibe, is kind of what it has. Yeah.
That nun saying he's not a man of God, like I think
Yeah,
that
it's
is
weird.
huge, but
Mhm.
it's not clicked in yet. All right, let's keep it rolling a little bit. I wonder how this ends. That's so strange the way they pulled it back.
Yeah.
It's like it happens and then it pulls it back again. Okay, this guy is wearing a
Brings
British
to mind
flag.
like high level, like criminal, like fucking something or other. I don't. That's kind of the
Behaviors,
feeling I
fucking
get. You know. Almost like a cockfight. You
Did
know.
you see that? It looks like the black guy.
Did you
suddenly
hear
has
a cluck,
something
cluck,
over
cluck,
his
cluck,
face.
too?
Yeah, you can because they're doing a cockfight.
Okay, I didn't see the cock.
I gotta slow this down because all of a sudden the black guy, his face is covered in white. Okay.
Oh,
never
yeah,
mind.
ooh.
It's just like I think it's just kind of like a glitch. I'm not. gonna
But
pay
that's a
attention.
weird. That's an intention. I don't feel like that glitch was because before that glitch was just passing over. That one it literally. So you may have caught something.
It's so hard because it feels like every frame has a flash in
Yeah.
it for a brief moment in time.
But like,
and
look at the flashes, and then it will at one point just boof, his face, and then
only his face.
It is
yeah.
it is the flash though. But like, it's like, look, there it was uniform. It didn't focus on his face,
Here it comes.
and now it's
Boom.
yep, boom. See,
That's weird.
it's focused in on there. Yeah, it's weird.
Strange. All right, let's
I don't know what that means, but
I'm gonna keep it on like at least 75.
yeah,
Moves a little bit slower.
you're like 40 minutes of like maybe this means this, man.
Yeah. Honestly, we're digging for the little things, but I don't think it's even necessary because it seems right
It's
on
so-
its face they're telling a story.
Yeah.
Interesting. What the fuck?
Is that Macaulay Culkin?
Bro, yeah, that's fucking Macaulay Culkin. What the
You know
fuck
what's
is
weird
going on?
though? If you know his backstory,
Oh, yeah.
this
oh, yeah.
this is even more like, you know, with
Yes.
that generational thing I was talking about earlier. That's that right there. That's literally exactly that. That's, you know, the cycle of trauma repeating. Now he is the Santa in the sex dungeon that the victim, the fucking MK Ultra victim's coming to now, as opposed to at one point he was the little trollop fucking, you know, crawling on the floor.
Honestly, Jose, I don't think
Yeah.
there could be a better ending to this. Like
That's
to
wild.
all of a sudden just show us to do a reveal and it's Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah,
And
that's
you know
wild.
what's funny is I don't think
goofy.
it is actually him. It almost looks like his face superimposed on somebody
Yeah.
else, right? Like it's like a deep fake or whatever. But man, is that hilarious. And look, I know that when you're designing a set, especially if you're designing a set for a Kim Kardashian music video, everything is on purpose. Nothing is there accidentally. So I think you could go back and look at every picture on the wall, the positioning of everything. Like there is so much here. You see this like sort of chain of diagonal images that are on the wall over his shoulder. It's like what we need to be asking, what are those? I'm sorry, I just can't. When all of a sudden you show us fucking Macaulay Culkin, dude,
What
this
a
is the
weird
craziest
reveal.
shit.
It's
amazing.
motherfucking Macaulay Culkin. But
You
it
know what
works.
is, too?
It's perfect.
It's I have to look at this again and again because it actually upsets me that they're showing me something and I'm not picking up on it. That's what
Yeah.
upsets me about this. Like I need to go back and look at this because you're showing me something. This is meant to convey. Otherwise, dude, without the context of what message this is meant to convey, you are left going, what the fuck is this? What was any of that?
Yeah.
So the only meaning that it's conveying is one that's occulted. So this needs to be analyzed. Let's
Yeah,
run
it
through
really
the-
just feels like what I was saying before. Like this is like some Belgian fucking, you know, royal family fucking castle, and
Yeah.
this is from the perspective of some fucking warped out like, you know, fucking kiddo that's fucking thinks they're some fucking whore for the elite, and this is just her perspective. And then you throw a little bit of Santa vibes in there. That's what this is.
Well,
It's weird.
We have to acknowledge too, and I don't know what it means and how it plays with this, but like Macaulay Culkin is synonymous with Christmas, right? Because his claim to fame are the Home Alone movies, and they are inherently Christmas films. We just watched Home Alone 2 yesterday with my son, so you can see the way in which they play together on a very surface level, but there's something else going on. We got 7 seconds? Let's finish it.
Yeah, let's go knock it out. That's it, yeah. Wow. Well,
that is weird, dude.
I almost have to let it stew. I almost have to think on that a little. That's
yeah. Yep. All right, let's stop that screen share. I don't know what to make of that. On just a precursory view, this needs to be analyzed on a much deeper level. This is interesting. Are you going to play that? I've not seen that either yet.
I saw this like right before we started, and I was like, oh my fuck. It says, do not fuck with the Mossad, Exhibit A. We create a pretend world. We are a global production company. We write the screenplay. We're the directors. We're the producers. We're the main actors. The world is our stage. I swear, Lainey, if you're watching, I really dig the intro you have, but I need a remastered one with that in it. That's fucking insane. All right, let's see.
Made your intro?
Yeah, Lainey made that
it's
intro.
Such a banger.
It's one of many. Yeah, I like it.
Watching, I was like, that's a very good.
Yeah, I've had that actually one in the wing for a while. I don't use it regularly. Every now and then I will, but I feel like it fits perfectly the vibe I'm going for this morning show. So I was like,
I'd be interested in hearing your thoughts on this after we play it. Like, is this because it feels whatever? Let's watch it first, and we'll get into it.
How did you convince Hezbollah to buy this?
Well, obviously, they didn't know that they were buying it from Israel.
Who did they buy it from, or think they were buying it from?
We have an incredible array of possibilities of creating foreign companies that have no way been.
Yeah, right. RFK. I mean, tell me already though that sound will kick in an intro. But all right, let's
yeah. It's a banger. Yeah.
Traced back to Israel, shell companies over shell companies who affect the supply chain to our favor. We create a pretend world. We are a global production company. We write the screenplay. We're the directors. We're the producers. We're the main actors. The world is our stage.
How did you?
Yeah.
I'll give it to him. That goes fucking hard. That goes hard.
It does go hard. But what do you think about as far as the reality of it? Is it genuine? Is it served up theater? Because I feel like if you and I were to do a bit and I was like, okay, Jose, you're gonna wear this mask and you're gonna basically like allude to that you're the Jews and you control everything. Like these are things that you would say, right? These are these are not at all revelations of any sort. And the fact that the guy is in a mask means that it's not only is it not a revelation, but it simply goes nowhere. It is just this thing that's meant to stir the pot. I mean, what do you think on it?
I don't know. I mean, it is like when they have. There's something to say with Mossad, how they have in the past, I don't know, maybe 10 years or so, gotten really fucking brazen and just kind of like saying the quiet parts out loud, but in the weird way.
Bad Hat Harriet said Kanye again. It was Kanye because he's got the Balenciaga mask on.
Yeah, that would make sense. But it does seem brazen, but it's like, I mean, at the same time, though, it's like the more brazen they are, it's almost like the more it's because they have to be. They have to project this strength. Because if they don't, they are at their core kind of weak. They're essentially a parasite off the United States. So I mean, although at the end, in a certain sense, they're kind of the root of us. So if anything, like I don't know, if parasite would even be the correct thing. They're almost like our central nervous system.
Right. So, there was a time where I was like, I can get behind the idea that Israel has a disproportionate amount of influence over American politics, but then I was suddenly having to tango with the idea that they are the overwhelming force in American politics, legislative, inspiration and things of that nature, more so than even our own government. And yeah, I don't know what you call that, if that's a parasite. I guess so, yeah. Or like cordyceps, mushrooms, they kind of have a parasitic nature, but they eventually do take over the entire host.
Yeah, they basically are the host at that point. So
right. So is it fair to say parasite anymore at that point, or is it just like they are? They are America. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, let's get into some semi-serious news. This is a story I've been slacking on, but luckily my buddy Ken Silva covered this, so we can scroll through this. FBI detains possible accomplice to 15-year-old female Christian school shooter. We talked about this on Friday, at least somewhat, about the just initial stuff about who she is and stuff of that matter. This one, I believe, is going to go more into the connections, into like accelerationism and stuff. So let's scroll through this real quick, and if you have any thoughts as we go, Raven, let me know. But have you really looked into this story much? I've been kind of sleeping on this one. I don't know about you.
Not necessarily. I mean, I don't know what it is. Are we so desensitized to school shooters? We just did an episode over on Nephilim Death Squad, 2 episodes. One was on Sandy Hook. The second one was on John Benet Ramsey. And after coming away from those 2 episodes, I just know that the official narrative on these things, we've always known that it was a lie, but it's so grotesquely distant from the truth that it almost is to your detriment to absorb any of the mainstream media's narrative on it.
Yeah. All right. FBI detains possible accomplice to 15-year-old female Christian school shooter. CBS 8 in California reported Wednesday that the FBI detained a 20-year-old man for plotting a mass shooting at a government building with the 15-year-old girl who would go on to attack the Abundant Life Christian School on Monday, unaliving another student and a teacher and wounding 6 others before unaliving herself. She only got 2 people? I did not know that. I mean, obviously, great. That's great. She only got 2 people, but weak. Right. According to CBS, FBI agents served a gun violence restraining order on the man, Alexander Pfaffendorf, after discovering that he had been in contact with a 15-year-old shooter. So this is a 20-year-old had been palling around with a 15-year-old, and they were planning on shooting up a government building together before this all happened. CBS 8, which obtained a copy of the restraining order, reported that Pfaffendorf admitted to having contacted the Rupp now. During an FBI interview, Pfaffendorf admitted to the FBI agents that he told Rupp now that he would arm himself with explosives and a gun, and that he would target a government building. The 2-page restraining order from the Carlsbad Police Department states.
It's weird because it feels like we're in this time right now where there's a real effort to be included. It's inclusivity, right? It's how do we get women in on the school shooting thing, and also how do we get trans in on the school shooting thing, and
make it a group activity. Yeah.
Right. It feels like that was literally part of the conversation used to be that it was only white males who engage in school shootings, and so black people would hold that over your head and women would hold that over your head. And now it's like, now all we need is just a black tranny to come and shoot up a school, and you guys can't say that to us anymore. So I don't know. I that's strange to me. And also, have we gotten to the point in this story yet where they realize that she cold turkeyed her SSRIs, or has that not been revealed yet?
I'm not sure. Like I said, this is me following it now. I did want to point out, someone says, NDS with Jay Dyer today. Is this one of those ones where it's a premiere dropping, or are you just alive with it?
So what we do is we do a half an hour preview, but we do have to edit in sponsors ads. So it goes behind a paywall around the half an hour mark.
Okay, but so it is live. So you are live with Jay today. Well, my point is, I know sometimes I think later you will put the premiere, so I didn't know if it's already been recorded. So I'm like,
no, we're gonna go live.
Because all right, well, shit, you have the perfect day to have Jay Dyer on. I mean, consider the 40 minutes we just did. So if anything, if I was you, I'd just go back and watch that a few more times and buckle in for a fun time, because that's right up Jay's alley. Well,
I imagine what we're really going to be talking about, because you have this sort of drone thing that's unraveling, and everybody knows I won't shut the fuck up about it, and it's all I've been talking about since the tail end of November. And so what we're working on now is, we've established that there is these drones, and I have my concerns that the government is going to start to change language and start to say things like UAPs. And if we really do move towards this disclosure thing that seems to be annually pump faked to us, right? It's like the Pentagon has recovered off-world crashed crafts and biological material that's not human and shit like that. You kind of been waiting for this moment where they're going to try to do whatever they're going to do with disclosure.
They just keep feeding crumbs, and then it seems like when people are getting voraciously taking the crumbs, and they just throw bigger ones. So it really is just a matter of, I know what you mean, and how far this Blue Beam op goes, whether it stops at just drones and then they're supposedly from Iran and we all laugh, or if it goes all the way to fucking full on holy crap, maybe these are aliens. I really feel like it just depends to what degree people get sucked into it. The more people get sucked into it, the more that they'll be like, oh, well, maybe these things are religious in nature, or like throw out little things to see if people jump onto it, you know?
Yeah, I think when there's an opportunity that presents itself, like at any given moment, any sort of calamity can be used to somebody's advantage. But sometimes a calamity can be used to a higher degree of advantage. Just depends on the nature and the timing of it. So I think that it really just depends on when the government or whatever, if you want to call it the deep state or something, finds it most advantageous to roll this out. Will they be able to hit the most legislative points and most cultural points and things of that nature? But so I think we're going to be talking about that because I'm just trying to steelman the idea that if we ever are exposed to something that's non-human, that it is not at all what Hollywood and the government have been telling us since the 40s.
We're not going to believe them.
Right.
Which, you shouldn't, really.
No,
honestly.
you shouldn't believe them. And people have to remember, too, it's like any idea that you have of aliens, they came from Hollywood and the government. You know, that's it.
Yeah.
So, you know, it is what it is. I know Joey Poopbag's really mad. He said, shut the fuck up about Clint. He was wrong, and you keep moving the goalposts, and you haven't looked into the numerous predictions he got wrong. Simps that can't. You know, I've called Cliff High a faggot. Yeah. And it's just there's no amount of telling people that he's a CIA agent that will make Mr. Poopbag happy. Terribly sorry.
Yeah. On the flip side with Mr. Poopbag, I'm pretty sure I saw earlier, I think this was him, someone said, I think maybe we consent to things, but or sometimes by, or whatever, kind of like the idea of like, you know, the elites make us consent, and then Joey Poopbag in reply goes, you consented to being a faggot.
Honestly, I love Joey Poopbag. He has nothing but bangers. He's one of my favorite.
Yeah, so there's been a couple times you've seen me just and just for no reason. It's because of him in the chat.
Look, I like my buddy Xerox said, "Who's shitting your ass today, Joey?" Shout out Joey Poopbag. He's a man. All right, let's keep it going.
Yeah, the order the FBI agents saw the messages from Pfaffendorf to Rupnow. San Diego Superior Court judge approved the restraining order on Tuesday night, the day after Rupnow's attack. TMZ reported Thursday that Pfaffendorf's neighbor said he exhibited seriously creepy behavior, never talking, avoiding eye contact, always wearing his hood up, and other unsettling antisocial habits. I guess we just can't do that now?
Yeah, I guess so. Be fucking antisocial? Fuck you.
In fact, his behavior is so bizarre, she claims it was even brought to his parents' attention during one particularly eyebrow-raising incident, but they didn't do anything about it. Okay, so this is a 20-year-old living with his parents still. That Rupnow would be in contact with a creepy 20-year-old man isn't surprising given her other online affiliations. As Headline USA reported Wednesday, Rupnow, who went by the name Samantha, Rupnow is closely linked to satanic chat groups known for grooming teenagers to commit crimes, self-mutilation, and other acts of depravity. Rupnow's links to satanic chat rooms were exposed Tuesday when a journalist published her apparent manifesto, which came from the shooter's Twitter/X account. An online researcher who goes by the handle BX looked into the account and found that it was following at least 2 accounts promoting Satanism and accelerationism. Those accounts were at Groid Cell, which is linked to the Satanic 764 pedophile network, and Temple of Blood, named after a satanic cult, which happens to have been created by an FBI informant. That's Josh Sutter, by the way. The latter account has since changed its name, BX said. But the most direct link to these groups came from Rupnow's suspected Telegram account, CrossXer. Her user account was subscribed to a channel called @OKAAA, which is described as a 764 music and backup channel, BX added. I mean, those would seem awfully specific,
it's
accounts.
Interesting how these things keep tying together, though. This is something that you were looking into for a while, and I don't know. It's interesting because when I hear about this, I do wonder to what degree it's a satanic cult. You know what I mean? It seems like their MO is mostly murder, and that's what they become famous for, but I wonder what their practices look like. It's like, look, man, if you're going to call yourself a satanic cult, you had better be doing some satanic shit. That's just my opinion. You can't claim game and then not do the things. Are you sacrificing cats yet? Are you killing chickens? What are you doing? Because the Jews kill chickens, and they're not even claiming to be a satanic cult, so I just wonder to what degree they're actually engaging in this. If there is
764? Oh, they're doing wild shit. Yeah, they're going off. They're getting I think they're what's the word I'm looking for? Trying to think of like a religious term. Like, I guess not a sacrifice, but an offer. Their offering is more is they call them actually op-furs, which is like other people. So it'd be like other people essentially harming themselves or sexually explicit material of themselves, or cutting themselves, cutting your name into them, harming their pets, harming others. So it's a kind of this, and then they just kind of, the more they have, the more they push. That's kind of the MO of the 764 group, is that it's a lot of like probably 12 to 20-year-old dudes that will then manipulate chicks, is usually what it is, like younger girls, and there's already chat rooms that exist for the women who are looking to self-harm, whether it be suicide or physical. Yeah, there's chat rooms. You can find chat rooms for self-harm and stuff.
With Invader Zim wristbands. Remember that shit?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's where that stuff kind of comes from, is those type of chat rooms. And then these 764 people a lot of times will get in there and then make friends with these chicks, or they have multiple different ways that they'll link up with them. But then then they'll start like talking to them, develop a relationship. They will then get them to harm themselves and be like, oh, you should cut my name into you. And then from there, then you're like, then they go, well, I'll tell your mother. Now I have this compromising photo of you, or and then so it spirals out from there. Next thing you know, they have all these different images, and it's like they're a young girl. They don't want this information getting out. Now they're harming pets. They're doing this. They're doing that.
Miniature intelligence agency shit.
Yeah,
it's as far as like blackmailing and goes.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like a blackmail operation, really, is what it is. And I mean, there are satanic elements. I mean, there's arguments from differing research to what degree there actually is like satanic, but they are like playing off the aesthetics of it at the very least. They're playing off a lot of the 09A aesthetics, which is like another deep rabbit hole, to where it's like people don't know to what extent that's real, or whether it's not, or whether it's just some sort of intel, something or other. Yeah, I mean, we were talking about sacrifices earlier. 09A, part of its like belief system, it has like a literal, it seems to heavily imply to get to the next level, to where more is revealed. Right. Is some sort of sacrifice or something or other along those lines. But
yeah, what's interesting about it is it feels like we're on the cusp oftentimes of like some form of like pseudo-Christian nationalism, and I've been talking about that for a while, especially when you have like this mixing of political characters in Christianity. And I see that happening on one hand, or the potential for its development on one hand, and then also we're taking Satanism and it's now graduating past like what used to be dismissed as a LARP, when you have like Anton LaVey and everything, and like the Church of Satan. It's very much feels like a LARP, and it's an affront to religiosity as much as it is a front against just exclusively Christianity. It's like thumbing your nose at a system and claiming to be representative of the bad guy, even though they don't believe in a bad guy, right? That's kind of like what the Church of Satan is. And then all of a sudden now it's evolving to like murder, actual murders, right? We're going back to like Helter Skelter, like Satanic Panic, except, the panic is for a good reason, because people are getting murdered. And I wonder how those two elements are going to play together. You have this rise of, we've been in a debaucherous culture for a while, as far as like godlessness and sexual perversion and just immoral behavior, debased people. And the opposition to that is this more conservative Christian worldview that the pendulum is swinging towards. I wonder what's going to happen if we're going to see a point where it's like, yeah, you've murdered too many people, you've erected too many shanty statues in Capitol buildings, and the Church of Satan has to go in some way, shape, or form, because I don't think you can have those two things rising in popularity, the Christian nationalism and the occult, right? 764, 09A kind of a deal. You can't have those two things gaining momentum at the same time and have them not duel out at the top once they get there.
All right, I got this other video for us. This is from Dissident Media. It said, after Mussolini kicked Aleister Crowley out of Italy for performing a sex ritual during which a person died, Crowley sought refuge with some friends in France. Who were the friends? The parents of Barbara Bush. And here's like about a 3-minute video. Figured it might be interesting to watch.
Who have always been so gracious to me personally and to our staff at the White House, at their home in Kennebunkport, here in Houston as well. We've had a closeness that hard to describe over these years. Spent so much time together. It's great knowing them and talking to them and seeing them. Special to me here tonight. You also disclosed, Barbara, George discloses something very personal about you, which he says you gave him special permission to write about. He wrote that when you once had a miscarriage, you showed him the fetus in the jar.
Now, really,
We touched on it before.
Wild, right?
That's gnarly. What?
Yeah.
Him, I mean, imagine any mother showing their child their miscarried fetus in a jar. I mean,
Can
that's
you imagine
bizarre, right? You would
the
go,
magical properties of the fetus of a president?
Oh,
President
my God.
spawn. That's like what, plus 10 magic power, I think, at least.
It has to be plus 10 magic, dude. It has to be 100%. If you cut off the arm and keep it in a pouch, it grants you the ability to cast magical shield.
Put it on a
once per
chain
day.
around your neck.
Yeah, once a day you can cast magic shield with it. Holy shit, man. Yeah, that's not good. That's not good.
Wild.
But you didn't
Paolo put it in a
elaborate.
jar.
What?
Paolo, it's not in the library. No,
I know.
George, Paolo put it in a jar, and I was shocked when she gave it to him but your memories dim a little bit, but anyway, but he was
You were
very...
shocked that he put it in the book.
No, he asked permission, and I gave him permission if that's his book. And I think he was trying to say that he and I have a very special relationship.
Poignant story you tell about your mom.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
She goes, what he was trying to say about the baby in the jar was that he and I have a very special relationship. Yeah? Not like, dude, one time my mom showed me, like, I guess my dead baby brother in a jar. His shit was wild. I don't think he was trying to talk about how tight your relationship is. And what I want to say is there are videos that go around of her, Barbara Bush, and to Real Ride or Die's point, right, where it's like she looks and sounds like a dude. Some of those videos have been altered, their audio, to deepen her voice. I actually don't think... I think likely she's not a dude. But wouldn't it be something to spread that rumor to obfuscate the fact that she is a descendant of Aleister Crowley as opposed to a dude? You know what I mean? It's like, how do you cover up a conspiracy? Well, with a crazier conspiracy. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's also believable. If you understand Aleister Crowley's story and the circles he ran through, though, you're like... I mean, he very well may have fucked their parents, and because their whole thing was sex magic, and they were banging, they were sucking, fucking, they were doing everything.
I'm sure he fucked both of them, both Ma and Pa.
About your mom having a miscarriage when you were just a teenager.
Yeah.
And you were the one who drove her to the hospital, and you write, quote, I never expected to see the remains of the fetus, which she had saved in a jar to bring to the hospital. There was a human life, a little brother or sister. You and she had never talked publicly about this story until she gave you permission,
right,
to write about it in this book.
And that's why you're asking me, because had my mother said so...
Man, can we just for a second point out that George Bush is talking about his mother's fetus that was in a jar, but
So
let's keep
cool. It's so cool. What a cool time to be alive, right? Like, what a cool presidency. What a cool ruling family of elites.
All right, let's keep moving.
When you're talking about it, it wouldn't have been in the book. I put the story in the book as a part of the tale. I thought it was very important for people to understand my relationship with my mom.
What'd you learn about her through that experience?
One, she trusted me. And when you're a teenage kid, you know, you're kind of self-absorbed person, and your mom says, I trust you. It's a boost in confidence. And my mom is what I learned was she's a straightforward person.
Right.
She says to her teenage kid, here's a fetus.
It's also, though, impossible not to draw parallels between that moment where you said this was a little brother or sister and your views on life and when it begins.
No question that affected me, my philosophy that we should respect life. And I was a pro-life president, but the purpose of the story really wasn't to try to show the evolution of a
Could you pause this
pro-life
real quick? So I got to address the chat. Shout out to Emily. EMP 1990 says, from the man who skeeted on his dad in a coffin, his mom's fetus in the jar. Isn't that odd, dude? Yeah, not that crazy when you jerked off on your dad. Also,
No. He did skeeted by his dad because the story there is the Skull and Bones is because they were both Skull and Bones members.
Yeah, and you have to
and
lay
that's
in the
part of the
coffin,
thing
and
is you got to
get
nut
100
on
dudes to jerk off on you or something.
Well, you got to nut on Geronimo's skull.
Well, there's different versions, right? If you remember that black guy who's like doing
He's
a whistle
not
blowing
everywhere,
thing on
I
the
guess.
news.
Yeah.
I love that guy. But Real Ride or Die says Skull and Bones member. So, you know, it's interesting. You have this the skull of Geronimo that prophesies allegedly to the members of Skull and Bones, or at least the upper echelons of the member of Skull and Bones of Yale. And so, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like you have now another group that has a dead body in a jar. I wonder if they're getting the information from this little baby bush in a fucking jar.
Yeah, all right, we got 10 seconds left.
Really to show how my mom and I developed a relationship. Here's a fetus. Here's a fetus.
There you go. Yeah, Real Rye or Die says they jerk off on a glass casket. Why Geronimo, though? I don't know why Geronimo. I'm retarded, but I know that
fuck
it's supposed
that guy,
to be
I guess.
to him.
I don't know.
Fuck that dude. He was a magical Indian, no?
I think it was like a big deal. I want to say he was like a big deal of a character at the time.
Yeah, he was, but there's something else to it.
I think it's more of just like a, if anything, I'd say an American exceptionalist thing if I had to guess. It's just kind of like, well, fuck you. Kind of like, you look at you. Now we have the secret society where I'll just fucking jizz on your face. And like, that's where, like one of those, like, you dare step to us, we're going to fuck a nut on your face for centuries.
I wonder if that's how it's like you have to cover the skull in life in order for it to prophesy. So everybody just has to dick out and jerk off on this Geronimo skull. And then once it gets enough jizz coverage, it's like it starts glowing, and then it starts prophesying. It's like you just got to give it
spinning lights emanating from it.
It's the Bach saga, right? If you don't drink the seed, you don't get the knowledge. But if you want the Geronimo skull to prophesy, you got to cover it in the knowledge, and then it'll start talking.
Well, I have no idea what that video had to do with Aleister Crowley, but I assumed it would make sense.
I forgot all about that. Yeah,
that had nothing to do with the caption.
Yeah, they were in the same place at the same time. It's funny how that happens too, right? Because you have the same thing in Trudeau's mom, spending a lot of time around what's homeboy's name that Trudeau looks exactly like. Fucking damn it, it's gonna piss me off.
Castro?
Fidel Castro.
Castro, yeah.
Yeah, he looks like Castro, and is rumored, his mother spent quite a lot of time and had some sort of relationship with Fidel.
Yeah.
And then he comes out, the spitting image of it. It's funny that, she would have been in the same area, supposedly, that Crowley would have been in, years before or some shit like that. I don't know. There are some pictures where it's uncanny, and then there are other ones, like if you watch her there, I didn't really get that impression. But she has aged tremendously by the time this video. It's maybe younger photos of her that seem to bear a more striking resemblance. Is she some sort of blood relative of some sort? But I don't know. It's like the same thing. When they do EGI, are you familiar with that?
Can't say I am.
EGI, you'll be familiar as soon as I say what it is. You go, elite gender inversion. This idea that all the elites are trannies. And I think that gets way blown out of proportion. I wouldn't be surprised if there is some element within people in the public eye that are that. Hey, it's Q. He says, hey, man, I just got to skeet off on a nigga skull. I hear the cries of that red-skinned Injun Geronimo, and that's what gets me hard. I mean, whatever gets you going, dude.
It works.
But
100% of the time, every time.
We do a lot of incorporating conspiracies that I don't really know if they're... I don't give a shit if Barbara Bush is a man. It just doesn't mean anything to me. Really, it's like I'm looking for... You know why? I think as conspiracy theorists, we tend to gravitate towards the thing that'll allow us to speculate as to future events. So if you have something like Agenda 2030 or whatever, you can go through this and now expect to see some of those things roll out and play out in real life. Many conspiracies are like that, even like the drone thing, right? It's like where you're speculating where might this go? Barbara Bush being a nigga, you can't fucking, there's no end what? You know what I mean? There's no end goal, there's nothing. So I look at those things and I go, it just doesn't. But there are people out there, by the way, that think that the EGI thing, elite gender inversion, extends to upwards of 80% of the people that we see on television and in higher levels of politics. And I go, nah. Even so, like, fucking for what? And I get it. It's like you have the Baphomet, right? So there's precedent for a spiritual entity that is gender inverted.
Yeah.
So if you venerate these people on the world stage who are trannies, then you're somehow energetically exchanging with this tranny deity.
Yeah. It's also like consenting to it. Because, like, can you imagine if we did dawn on you as a straight man that, like, all these women that you grew up having weird, uncomfortable sexual feelings to as a young boy, you're like, yeah, those are all dudes, you fucking faggot. You're like, I mean, what does that do to someone?
Well, okay. Now this is like Tower Gang hat, right? If we were the elites, how fucking funny would that be?
Yeah.
Like, they're jerking off to dudes. Fucking gross.
Yeah.
That would be good.
Yeah.
That would be good. And I can accept that. I think that there probably is room for things that they do to us because it's funny. There's got to be some of that, dude. There's got to be some of that.
I mean, to some extent, it's just like a flex, like because we can. Like, so I mean, I actually do think there probably are like elites that are, and I've seen some of them, like that one princess from like Bulgaria or wherever the fuck, where you're like,
that's a little.
That's a
different.
dude, dog.
That's
like, yeah, like
the
there's
one that
multiple
looks
ones.
like,
You're like, they're dudes.
What is it? Gordon, the one from Mortal Kombat. Are you talking about that? What? Not Gorlock. And now, ever since the whatever podcast, Gorlock the Destroyer has been in my
the
head.
one with the 4 arms, Goro.
The one with the 4 arms. They got the same face.
Yeah. Goro looking bitch. Yeah.
It looks the same. Hold on, I want to read this. Arcane Arsenal. Shout out Arcane Arsenal. He says, Barbara Bush being a man means a lot. It means we have positions of great power being held by fags and trans devil people. That needs to be fixed. Yes. But I think it's just like I said, so much of my mind is geared towards the fun of speculating what's on the horizon. And I can't do much with that. Yeah. Although, obviously the whole Crowley thing plays in to everything when it comes to parsing. You know what's funny? We were doing a podcast with somebody the other day. Got to release that episode, actually. And
real quick, sorry, Xerox, fuck you. There's no way this happens all the time.
I don't I got to agree with Jose on here. I don't believe I see those ladies and I'm just whatever fucking
maybe they slipped one in here and there, but like there's no way I'm that bad.
It just doesn't make sense because I've seen people. Number one, people have done it to me. They've said that I'm gender inverted, and I'm like, I'm not an elite. Like, what, you think they really fucking spent the time to turn me into a tranny to roll me out in front of you people? And I've seen people really go on tangents about me being gender inverted, which is fun. But I see people reach to such a degree that half the time I'm like, if that person is actually a dude and there are genuine women that are uglier than that dude, what are we doing here? I don't know what that means. It's just so Goro, thank you. Shiva was the Mortal Kombat Goro chick. Mm-hmm. She was great on Game Boy. There you go.
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't do much for me. And I don't engage in celebrity worship.
No.
So yeah, dude. Like people that are fucking like all about this person or that person and they follow their that's fucking gay, dude. What are you doing? So it's kind of inconsequential to me. Also, Hollywood is dying. So are we venerating these people the way we used to? Other people jerk it to trannies, but not me. I'm smart enough to know the difference. David and Jose just now. That's right. No, you just got to retain your seed. You can't jerk off anymore because you never know when you're jerking off to tranny.
It's like Schrodinger's jerk. It's like if I jerked off to it, it's not a tranny. Like by definition, like
or no, until I jerk off to it. It's in a super state of being both a man and a woman, but me jerking off to it.
Once I've come to it, it's officially a chick.
It's a woman. Oh shit, that's fucking hilarious.
That's a great place to leave you. You can stick around if you want, but I'm getting to the portion of the show where I do my reading. I'm on the satanic portion of the Dutroux affair, though, so maybe you might find enjoyment out of it, but it'll be probably about 15 to 20 minutes of me reading. I'm coming to the end, so I'll let you go.
I do have another show to start relatively soon. I got 4 shows today. First one down, first one in the bag. It was fun, dude. Honestly, that Kim Kardashian video needs more attention.
Analysis.
There needs to be something. Yeah, it needs more analysis. Hopefully somebody better than me can do it, but I can't sit around and expect them to, so I guess I'm going to try to do it. Maybe I can bring it up later on Timeline Cleanse and do a little breakdown.
I mean, you got Jay Dyer on. I don't know how you could have a better layup for like kick-ass coverage. That's his vibe.
Maybe
he's all about video analysis and stuff, so
that's a great move.
I'm just saying, if you could literally just probably do the whole episode with him and just go frame by frame with it, just like you just did with me. You're all warmed up.
I think I'm going to have to do it. Quit porn by pretending all porn thoughts are trannies. Honestly,
that's
real
smart.
quick, shout out to JC for all the people that want to stop jerking off. Just assume EGI is entirely real and that these underpaid Pornhub actresses are all trans. And stop jerking off, guys.
Yeah,
stop jerking off. Retain that seed.
Yeah, it does seem to be all the occult schools are all about not nutting, and that'll somehow make you better. So I think there might be something to that. Stop nutting.
Unless you're doing the Bach Saga. They're saying nut and drink it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's kind of, in a certain sense, that's it's kind of like in essence not nutting at all.
That's
if you
true.
think about it,
That's true.
So,
right back in. It's all the same
yeah,
thing.
if you nut in your mouth and no one knows, did it really happen?
gay?
Like,
I think it's gay. I think it's definitely gay.
if I come in the woods and no one hears me, was it gay?
100%. All right, dude. I'll let you go. Enjoy your reading. Thank you for having me. And for those of you listening, you can find me on Nephilim Death Squad, some fucking place. And if you're on Twitter, David L. Corbo on Twitter. Come and ask me weird shit. Maybe I'll answer you. Probably not, though. That's
Hell
it,
yeah!
dude. Thank you for having me,
Appreciate
brother.
you coming on. Sorry about the internet. It weirdly fixed it once
it
we
ended
were.
up being. It ended up working out anyway.
Yeah,
It crushed. So I'll catch you later, brother.
All right, we'll see you. Thanks everyone who showed up. We're gonna keep going though, so don't fucking leave yet. Don't leave. I do want to let you know though, real quick, before we do get into the reading portion. But I am telling you guys, stay. This is the juiciest portion of the reading. This is where we're going to get into the satanic aspects of this international child trafficking organization. So I think you may want to stick around for that. See if there's anything to that. But before we keep it moving, I do want to remind you guys that today's episode is brought to you by NWJ Shave Co. If you're tired of that razor burn, irritation, and ingrown hairs caused by those multi-blade cartridges, then this is the way to go. Go back to traditional shave. You know the expensive nonsense you can shave just like your grandpa used to. The standard issue includes one traditional safety razor and a box of 100 stainless steel razor blades. $75 was what puts you out for the entire year. But let's be real, that was probably going to last you a lot longer. I've barely put a dent in mine. But if you're someone who shaves on the regular, you may want to consider the Quarter Shave Club. That puts you at about 25 cents per replacement blade. He's got shave soaps, 3-in-1 body, hair, and face soap as well. I dig those. Those smell really good. They're great for shaving with. It's a COVID mandate refusing company. This company was born out of refusing the mandate. Use code Jose for 10% off your entire order. Support those that support me / us and support our values. So yeah, definitely go support Nadeau Shave Co. Use Jose at checkout. Let them know I sent you. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get into Beyond the Dutroux affair, and we're on to the satanic link of it. Let's check in the chat real quick, before we get into it. Everyone's saying I got kicked out of Jay Dyer's Discord for posting a meme about one of the Saints being autistic. Okay, all right, whatever. Yeah, I do want to get Jay Dyer on the show one of these days. I just haven't sent out an invite yet. Yeah, all right, cool. Just seeing you guys all chat about Jay Dyer. Yes, he seems cool. And yes, everyone talking about quitting porn. That is a good idea. Everyone, you should probably quit porn. All right, guys, let's continue on with this reading. All right, more on the satanic link and the biggest picture possible. Of course, the most controversial explanation for the abuse that has hardly been discussed yet. Satanism, especially outside Christian circles, this highly foreign and silly topic is generally associated with, if anything, fairy tales from the U.S. countryside and maybe a handful of deranged teenage black metal fans. Satanism is a bit more enigmatic than that, however. For starters, there have been a huge amount of reports about satanic and /or ritual abuse, the latter not necessarily the same as Satanism, since the 1970s in both the US and the UK. Going through newspaper archives will show you that, especially since the late 1980s, the accusations became epidemic, with estimates that anywhere between 10,000 to 20,000 survivors of such abuse were getting treatment. As usual, the gatekeepers in the press and psychology community refused to take the topic serious and soon came up with the accusation that the therapists were the ones responsible for this hysteria. Now, there might be some truth to that, but even if it is, it still needs to be investigated who would be behind such a very organized disinformation campaign and for what reasons. In any case, reports never fully dried out, but the media hardly addresses this issue these days. Besides the more well-known LaVeyan Satanism, which is a basic spiritual philosophy for the self-absorbed and mentally disturbed, there's also a more ritual-based Satanism, aka Luciferianism, which is intrinsically linked to the numerous ritual-based mystery cults of the ancient Middle East and Europe. Without going in the religious details, it's possible that some of the more abominable practices have survived, even if only used in a practical, for recruiting and symbolic way. Just remember Colonel Aquino's satanic hobbies are what DeCamp wrote about Dr. Green being influenced by Kabbalistic magic. And I do think it's important to point out, with Colonel Aquino, it's heavily implied he probably was involved in Operation Phoenix in Vietnam, which was essentially the killing squads going on there. And so when I say for recruiting, and I was talking about earlier with like 09A and how it appears that they They have sacrifice is part of their doctrine, and that once you do that said sacrifice, more of the doctrine opens up to you, the part that's not publicly available. So that sounds just like recruiting, right? And if you are trying to recruit killers, like, say, literal kill squads, CIA kill squads, what would be a better way to go about it than to have some sort of weird esoteric initiation process, which literally involves killing? So that makes sense. I mean, when you look at Colonel Aquino, his whole thing was Satanism. So, all right. Luciferianism, a deceptive and dark form of Gnosticism, can still be found in the Memphis Mizraim rite of Freemasonry and the even more low-profile Martinist and Synerchist order. If these two organizations have any political influence is a good question, as virtually nothing has been written on them. We just don't know. It's only because of the internet that a little bit of information can be pieced together. So it appears that Licio Gelli, the former notorious head of the fascist P2 Lodge, is a 99-degree Grand Hierophant and honorary international head of the Memphis Mizraim Rite in Italy. In 2004, there were rumors in Spain that the newly nominated head of the Guardia Civil, equivalent of the Belgian Gendarmerie, was picked because of his membership in the Martinist and Synerchist order. Allegedly, the Royal House of Serbia, which in 2004 hosted a meeting of the private intelligence group Le Cercle, is also involved in Memphis Mizraim and Synerchism. This is about all the information available on membership in these two Gnostic organizations. It might be a coincidence, but Geli Arush and the Royal Karagiorevich family of Serbia appear to represent a distinctly extreme right-wing milieu, which has not only been highlighted in this article, but also in the article on Le Cercle. In Belgium, this milieu has largely been represented by the Vatican and U.S. intelligence-linked right wing of the PSC. And coincidentally, besides numerous accusations of child abuse against PSC members, some have also been accused of ritual abuse and Satanism, albeit largely through Opus Dei. First up are the claims of Jaak Thoma, who once was a treasurer of the PSC Youth Division. His boss was the notorious CEPIC member John Paul Dumont, the alleged child abuser. Jaak Thoma was at a restaurant with Sarah de Wachter when he broke down in tears. He participated in 1985 to 1986 in several satanic sessions close to Charleroi. He is very afraid. He was a treasurer of the youth section of the PSC. He often met with Michel de Wolf, Philippe Sala, and Jean Paul Dumont. They tried to direct Thoma toward Opus Dei, what they considered nec plus ultra, Latin for meaning nothing further beyond. Under the pretext of initiation tests for Opus Dei, he was brought to a black mass with sexual acts. He mentions the presence of girls from a country in the East, 13 to 14 years old. He was drugged before being taken to a room where masked people who had dressed in black robes. The participants drank blood. He was placed in the presence of a naked little girl laying down an altar. She had died. So obviously the implication here is this is initiation to Opus Dei, which is actually a pretty prestigious, I guess what would be the way to put it? I believe it's like an intelligence group. So like cream of the crop type shit. So kind of makes sense. He encountered the Grand Master, Francois Joseph, who told him that he was a police informant and that he had to be careful. Francois Joseph is a notary implicated in the trafficking of girls for prostitution from the East. He wanted to leave, but was drugged again. He woke up the following day in his car. He left the party and made a declaration to the BSR in Charleroi. X4, who also claimed to have been taken to satanic black masses, fingered Paul van den Boynens, Dumont's boss, as a violent abuser and added that Opus Dei members, like these, had belonged to her most sadistic clique. Psychotherapist Pascal Willems had information on another PSC member, Melchior Wathele, who, together with his mentor Paul van den Boynens, was named by X1 as a child abuser. Since 1992, Brassim was in contact with Pascal Willems, a fellow psychotherapist. Willems looked after two children, 8 to 10 years old, who were victims of child molesters and Satanists. The children would participate in a combined feast and orgy organized by Melchior Wathele in a castle located in the region of Verviers. The castle belongs to a private association. Willems would be in possession of an invitation. This abuse went on until the children were unalived. The children came from a children's home with a complicit director. At that time, Willems spoke about the affair to the advisor of the SAJ of Verviers, who told him to keep quiet, which, if I recall correctly, SAJ, La Janus, these were like essentially connected into the Gladio network, if I recall correctly. We covered this earlier. Who told him to keep quiet? He had been intimidated or has been threatened by telephone by the boss of the judicial police in Verviers and by an advisor of the SAJ and by an anonymous person. Contact between Brasine and Willems in October through November 1995 and at the end of 1996. Brasine speaks of it to Denayer. Following that, Willems was threatened with unaliving, unaliving themselves, suicide. The two files of the SAJ would have disappeared. Willems hid the relevant documents in a safe place at this office. The last PSC member to be accused of sectarian or satanic activities is Jean-Pierre Graff. Until the early 1980s, Graffe used to be a board member of CEPIC alongside Baron de Bonvoisin, Paul van den Boynants, Jean-Paul Dumont, and others. In 1982 and 1984, shortly after the demise of CEPIC, he was accused of pedophilia and came under investigation. His brother Jacques was later convicted for these facts and ended up in jail. Besides the prominent but fraudulent Oliver Trugsnack's case, there were other unreported charges of child abuse against Graff. As for the Satanist charges, sectarian or satanic activities at the Valmont Castle and Merbe-le-Château, owner of the Chateau is Pierre Ferbus, who's a homosexual banker of Bank Bruxelles Lambert. De Rupo and Graff would have been seen at these parties. A report of the police of Labs, which is a nearby town, received the same information concerning Jean-Pierre Graff. A report to the BSR, which is Special Investigations Unit of the Gendarmerie, in Thuin, another nearby town, contains approaching information. As you can see, it's not unreasonable to keep an open mind that there could well exist a satanic abuse cell somewhere within the earlier mentioned black network. Like with any intelligence project, it would only be necessary for a few ritual and/or occult practitioners of, for example, the Memphis Mizraim Rite or the Martinist and Syndicist Order, or apparently Opus Dei in the Knights of Malta, to be initiated into this black network while all the rest of the staff and membership of these organizations would know little or nothing about these depraved practices. As for Opus Dei and Knights of Malta, the P2 Lodge affair provided evidence that the highest level of these two Catholic organizations were in control together with U.S. intelligence. It says, update, in the past, we took it a little further in this section. We slowly found out, however, the sources of this information really weren't reliable. And to be honest, we continue to advise everyone to remain skeptical of any claims about high-level Satanism. Okay, so this sounds like they, after the fact, removed some stuff that seemed to be a little sensational. So if anything, then that just means what was left is a little bit more credible. So, all right, well, we have just a conclusion. I have half a mind to just read that now. That way we're done. But let's go over a conclusion next. Let's do the conclusion next time. We'll do the conclusion. The next time it'll be almost nothing. Yeah. All right. Let's roll through the chat real quick. Dyer, if you see, he was a diddler. Is he really taking a dump right now? I really am. I'm really pooping right now, guys. What do you think confession is? Did I say something about confession? Someone said Catholic CIA. Okay. I get what you're saying. Info gathering. I guess you could say that. Yeah, it definitely could have been used as that. All right, guys. Well, I think I'm going to go ahead and get out of here for today. I appreciate everyone who showed up for this. We'll probably do another one tomorrow. But tomorrow about 10-ish probably. The same, maybe. I mean, maybe give or take. Do one Christmas Eve. And I don't think I'll do one Christmas because, I mean, it's Christmas, so that's weird. Maybe though. I don't know. It depends on what I'm doing around the house. But yeah, I appreciate everyone who showed up. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, comment, all that stuff. If you're here and you didn't hit the like button, you're gay. But no, seriously, please hit the like button. If you are just poking in for the first time, or if you haven't done it before, please make sure to leave a good review at your on whether it was iTunes or Spotify or any of your podcatchers that have review system on it. That does help out a lot. So big old likes. If you do want to support the work I'm doing, you can do that over at patreon.com/NoWayJose2020. The lowest level is $2. That gives you early access to my weekly episodes, my weekly normal No Way Jose episodes, and then also on the Already Dead episodes, which is my weekly live call-in show that I do with Austin Picard on Tuesdays at 9:30. That allows you to take part in the video call portion of the show. So it allows you to be a talking head alongside me and Austin in the second half of the show where we take calls. But yeah, like so far as giving you paywalled stuff, I have on Thursday I have Jonathan Franklin coming on the show. He is someone who actually interviewed McVeigh back when he was in jail, so it'll be interesting talking to him. He's been someone I've wanted to talk to for a while. So if you are a patron, you'll get that about a week early. Otherwise, that'll come out next week. So again, the highest level is my sponsors. I read them off every episode. I have my co-host on Tower Gang at Tower Gang Toad. I have at Abrogate D's, at ZOVERACK, at _Infinite Jacob Daniel, the Biblical Anarchy Podcast. You can follow him at Biblical Anarchy. Actually, was just on his show last night. It's actually on my channel if you want to check it out, but definitely go check out his channel as well. Then Tim Tuttle at Jolly on Klebold. Then Will Bell makes this delicious blueberry rabbit eye wine. Then big fan of the show at Real Josh Elliott. Then Torin May. Thank you guys for supporting me. You guys allow me to do what I do, and I'll keep on doing it. But yeah, like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Follow me on Twitter at Tower Gang Jose. Thank you everyone who showed up today. We out. Deuces. Joey says I hit it, but I'm still gay. Hell yeah. All right.